So the High Court in Pretoria has today heard that Senzo Meyiwa was killed in a hit and not a botched robbery. The so-called trial within a trial resumed in the High Court in Pretoria today. It's looking at the admissibility of so-called confession statements from 2 of the 5 men arrested in connection with the football stars shooting in 2014. Meyiwa, you may recall, was killed almost 10 years ago at the family home of his then-girlfriend, the singer Khumalo, in Vosloorus. Linda Mnisi is our reporter on this story, joining us now in studio, Linda, to run through the first day of the resumption of the trial. Let's talk about what we heard today, that Meyiwa was apparently killed in a contractual assassination. What is behind that?
Okay, so you'll remember that the proceedings today kick-started with, questions around the warrant of arrests that were issued against accused number 1 and 2. So the defense was trying to pursue the issue around those warrants being issued irregularly. And what they were saying was that because the lead investigator did not include their addresses in the supporting affidavit which was submitted to court in the application for the warrants, then it means that they were not properly issued, because then the information around where they lived was not there. But also, Brigadier Gininda telling the court that it is not a requirement for those warrants. This was based on the issue around the merits and the investigations, the evidence that was contained in the docket. And that's when he then went into reading the affidavit, which then explains to that particular court where the application was being made that, in fact, this was at the onset of the case, at the outset, was meant to be a robbery, or they received information that this was a robbery gone wrong. But in fact, it was a contract killing. Let's take a listen.
Investigation which resulted in evidence under oath revealed that the victim was murdered as a contractual assassination or hit, rather than a robbery or robbery gone wrong. Evidence under oath revealed that 5 suspects actively participated in the planning and execution of the contractual murder of Senzo Meyiwa.
So, Linda, when you hear contract killing, it contradicts, does it not, what the state has argued happened here, because their argument so far has been that they're going to prove that Meyiwa was killed in a home invasion gone wrong.
Well, if you listen to what the affidavit says, it says that initially what they had was that this was a botched robbery, but as they continued to investigate, they discovered that in fact it was a hit. Of course, what the state told this particular court, the High Court in Pretoria, was that what they're going to prove was that this was a robbery gone wrong, and that the men who are in the house are the ones that in fact were involved in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. It's quite important to also note that this is evidence that is contained in the affidavit used in the trial within a trial. But then also the judge made remarks that at this point what is contained, or the merits that are contained in that affidavit, amount to hearsay, and therefore cannot be at this point admitted in the trial within a trial. It is only after the judge has ruled on whether the confessions are admissible or not that we can start hearing evidence of this nature, or it can admit evidence of this nature, and it can be used when it comes to the confessions or the main trial, rather.
But it'll feed into even the conversation nationally about whether or not the line that the state is pursuing in this matter is the right one. And if it was a contract killing, who then would have ordered the hit?
It's interesting because, in today's deliberations and today's cross-examination, that issue around who exactly ordered the hit came up when they were asking about, the pointings out or the confessions around accused number 1, Khumalo, and Brigadier Gininda says, in the manner in which the pointings out was done, they had to follow up on information that Khumalo had given them, and the information also included who exactly ordered this hit. So this could potentially, and I use the word potentially because we don't know yet, this could potentially be contained in those confessions. But until we hear of such, then we can't, of course, make that conclusion. But another interesting element around this, Tembekile, is around also Bongani Ntanzi's confession.
Right.
Yeah, Bongani Ntanzi, you'll remember, is said to have made a confession before Magistrate Gronier, and there he was legally represented, but he, of obviously denies that he was legally represented. So again, Brigadier Bongani Gininda questioned about, the circumstances around Bongani Ntanzi's confession before Magistrate Cronje. And what he says is that, in fact, it had gone to a stage where Bongani Ntanzi was even willing or was engaged in arrangements for a plea bargain, which essentially means he was willing to turn state witness and testify against his co-accused. Let's take a listen.
The second part, my lord, the accused two in particular, then the second confession was made in the presence of his attorney to the magistrate on the 24th of June 2020. But furthermore, my lord, there was a 105 engagement in terms of Criminal Procedure Act, Section 105 Capital A, between the state and the accused while he was legally represented. And in the documentation that we have, they firmly say they stand by the two confessions that were made by accused. And he elected, as part of his plea bargaining proposal, my lord, I'm sorry, I must say this because the assertion is that they never made any statement. Insofar as admitting the statement he made, went further in proposing the plea bargaining that he will plead guilty and testify against his co-accused. That is the extent of the discussions between accused two and the state. So those are the reasons, my lord, why I will not believe now that all of a sudden those statements were not made. There wouldn't be that discussion insofar as accused number two, and even if accused number one, in all the appearances, not once was it raised, even in Boxbeck, when the first appearance, my lord, none of the accused, this is 1 and 2, raised the inadmissibility of the confessions that they've made.
Let's end then with where we expect the court to go in dealing with this matter tomorrow, Linda. Is it still a continuation of today's basically line of thought?
Well, tomorrow we'll hear exactly what, the defense made of the disclosure that was ordered today. So you'll remember there's been an issue around a particular docket involving Bongani Ntanzi that had not been disclosed, and all the witnesses that came said that particular docket was with Brigadier Bongani Gininda. So the court has now ordered that the defense get insights into the 4 dockets that, have been spoken about extensively in the matter. So we'll only hear exactly what they make of, what they've been given today, tomorrow during cross-examination.
Linda Mnisi, watching the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, or at least the trial of the 5 men who are accused of killing the football star in 2014. Linda will have an update for you from early tomorrow morning right here on Newzroom Afrika.